For those of you who missed the Circle and Bloom webinar, which I did on 3 ways of manifesting, you would have to, go into Facebook. Obviously, you need a Facebook account, and then type up, it's a private group that they have, Circle and Bloom private support group or something like that. And then I'm not affiliated with them, so don't ask me, don't ask me about getting you in, because I'm not their admin. They invited me on, and so I've given webinars on their platform before, but I'm not affiliated with them. So you join their private group, and then I don't have my Facebook opened up. So if anyone who watched it and knows the exact name of the Facebook group and has the link, I would look, but then it's going to mess up my screens. Like, oh, I'm trying to keep my screens minimal right now for this presentation. So if anyone has that available, that link available, just please pop that into the chat. So you would have to it's a private group, so you have to ask to be accepted. Once they're accepted, then you can look at the previous posts and stuff. Oh, great. Thanks, Jill. Yeah, so that's that. Sweet. Let's chug along. All right, so since we have like 5 days together, so each session I'm trying to make it kind of relatively short, efficient, straight to the point. I'm not much of a talker, so I don't tend to talk a whole lot. I'm pretty direct in terms of what I want to get across. And so I'm kind of aiming it to be about like 30 minutes-ish each day. I mean, it could be a little bit longer because of questions. Everything's going to be recorded, so don't worry about missing anything. You can go back to it. I think I'm going to load it up onto the YouTube channel, and then you guys will have access to it. I'll send out the links and stuff like that later today. So everything's going to be recorded. Don't worry about it if you miss it. It's just, I think it's just fun to be on live. You get to ask questions. It's more, I don't know, just the energy is different. And so, whatever, it's up to you. Okay, so it's recording. Yes, awesome. And let's see. And then, so let me start, just because people have tend to filter in. Let me start just by introducing myself, so it gives people a little more time to join us, and especially for those of you who are new to me and who don't know me. My name is Julie Chang. Consider me your spiritual mentor to take you through conception and into a successful pregnancy. I guess fertility coach is probably a more well-known term, but I think I kind of feel like I'm more about the spirituality and the whole enjoying the process, and not so much focusing. I mean, we have a specific outcome that we're working towards, but I really want to teach people to enjoy the process, to enjoy the journey. And that's really what my passion is because 99.9% of life is lived in the journey. It's not lived in the destination. The destination is only like 0.1% of your life. And so if you're stuck trying to get somewhere, you're never going to enjoy where you're going. So that's why I'm kind of, I identify more with the spiritual mentor label, if anything. So education-wise, I have a master's in traditional Oriental medicine, and therefore I'm an acupuncturist and herbalist by training. I also have a Bachelor of Science from UCLA in microbiology and molecular genetics. I've been in practice for over 20 years and work with clients online exclusively after closing my fertility acupuncture practice in San Diego, California, about 2 years ago. And you can find out more about me on my website, mybabyafter40.com, and 40 is the number 40.com. So as my URL may suggest, my website may suggest, my focus is really on women 40s and older and wiser. And some of my clients are in their late 30s, just because we're starting to see, and there are a lot of factors, we're starting to see like the common conditions or diagnoses that are typically associated with women in the 40s is starting to drift down into the 30s, of like low AMH, poor egg quality, and low ovarian reserve. So there are definitely women who are in their late 30s, maybe even mid 30s, that fit within what I talk about. So my approach to supporting women on their motherhood journey, it's a holistic one. It has evolved over time, moving beyond conventional methods like acupuncture, herbal medicine, nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle adjustments to really kind of encompass and embrace a more intuitive and spiritual perspective. And honestly, it's a reflection of my own personal development and where my interest lies. I'm much more interested on being able to connect with infinite intelligence and really allowing myself and to live in a life that is filled with ease and flow. And I feel like I kind of nailed that down. And so I want to teach that to others. And so that's why I've kind of shifted a little bit. Interestingly, these methods, these strategies like the acupuncture and herbal medicine and nutrition and supplements and the lifestyle adjustments, they're now considered normal. But when I first started over 20 years ago, they were definitely fringe approaches. So it's really interesting to see how it's changed. And a lot of it is just because of grassroots demand. It is not because doctors acknowledge it at all. So I really encourage all of you, every single one of you, to really take it upon yourself to do your research, to explore what feels good for you and what might be other routes other than the conventional Western medicine. Nothing wrong with them, because I totally support that. But they're only like one option or a few options. There are so many other things that you can do just to avail yourself to other opportunities to improve the chances of your success. And so while those strategies are definitely valuable and complementary, they are no longer my personal primary focus. In fact, I now refer clients out for acupuncture and herbal medicine as I've shifted my emphasis. And just as a side note, I do recommend every single one of you, if it's available to you, find a local acupuncturist that you like, because it is a really important part. And I'm saying this as an acupuncturist, and I know how effective it is. Worst case scenario, it's not going to do anything for you. Best case scenario, it is going to be instrumental in your success. And so I do recommend that you find a good local acupuncturist that you really resonate with and that you trust. Okay, sidebar. So my pivot towards an intuitive and spiritual approach really stems from my deep-seated belief that well-being is a natural state and that abundance is every person's birthright. And I feel that so strongly that my entire practice is really built around that, to help you connect with that. Regardless of what your age is, what your diagnosis is, or past history, if you possess a heartfelt desire to welcome a child into your life, you have the potential to manifest that dream. And so my role is to facilitate the connection between your desire and that inherent well-being and abundance within you. And so I know from personal experience and working with my clients that it's not about the age, it's not about the diagnosis, it's not about the past history. I know this for a fact, and I can tell you 100% it's true. It does not have to define your journey. It does not. And you can go onto my website, mybabyafter40.com. The homepage has different testimonials from women of all ages, some of them in their 40s, a lot of them in their 40s, because I selected out the ones in their 40s. I actually didn't put in a lot of ones who were younger. And so those are women who have been successful. And most people that I work with have been given an almost zero chance of getting pregnant on their own with their own eggs. Most of my clients use their own eggs. I do work, with surrogates and those who use donor eggs. And so, but most of the success stories are all of them are with their own eggs. So I do want to really impart that on you, that it is not about what you're told by the doctors or by the media. It's really that belief within yourself. So that was my introduction to myself, just to give people time to join us. So thank you for listening to that. Before we actually dive into today's material, I really want to just take a moment to acknowledge the recent events in the Middle East that developed over the weekend. Our thoughts are with all of those who are affected, and I really hope for a swift resolution and peace in the region. So please know that my thoughts are with you. All right, so for today, I'm going to start by talking a little bit And then I'll guide you through a short meditation. So if you want to start kind of moseying yourself along to a more quiet place where you won't be disturbed, so you can follow along with me when I do the guided meditation, that would be great. It'll be very short. If you can't, it's totally fine. You can do the meditation later when the recording is available. We're only going to do it again for a few minutes. So I'm going to ask that if you're able to just hang out while I'm doing the meditation, and then because we'll kind of reconvene and come back together. So welcome to the Glow Up Challenge. Why did I call it that? Well, as we move through life and we accumulate experiences and meet new people, sometimes, unfortunately, they can kind of dim our inner glow. And that just happens as a natural process of moving through the world. And that's totally okay. The Glow Up Challenge is really about learning how to shed those layers that aren't serving you to your highest good and really revealing your true creative potential as a future mother and as a creator. We are all creators. We came into this physical existence in order to create experiences, to create our reality. And I really want to help you to connect with that power within you. Just know that this beautiful planet of 8 billion people, every single one of them came from a mother's uterus, right? And so you have that power within you. No one's an exception to that. Well, okay, I shouldn't say no one, but very few people are an exception to that, And so if you're on this call, I'm pretty sure you're not that exception. So I just want you to really remember that we are on a planet of 8 billion people, and you have that power. So I'm going to give you a basic framework that you can use well beyond this week, and I do recommend that you do that. Throughout this week, this challenge, you're going to learn some tools, you're going to cultivate positive habits, and then you're going to connect with each other in a supportive community that will hopefully be uplifting and inspiring on your journey. And I really again, want to encourage you to apply these principles not only to your baby journey, but to all areas of your life. Because the more practice you get, especially in areas that you don't have as much emotional attachment as the motherhood journey, like let's say career is usually a good one just because it's important, but not that important for most people. Or relationships with like coworkers or friends or like an extended community. Again, partners, it's a little bit emotionally hooked, so that might not be your first area to focus on. But for the purposes of this week, we're going to focus on the baby. But I do want to really highly, highly encourage you and invite you to use the principles for other areas. So over the next few days, I'm going to invite you to embrace your full potential, be confident, and truly glow from the inside out. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to focus on one concept and one concept only, because that is how important it is. And that is letting go. In fact, it's so important. I'm going to have an entire 2-month program around it because it is so important. And it's not the easiest thing, to be honest, because it just isn't. So letting go is critical to your motherhood journey. It involves releasing attachments. It means letting go of your fears and your anxieties that basically really are only holding you back from achieving your desires. I mean, there's no other function to having those attachments to those fears and anxieties other than they're holding you back and they're blocking you. And so you need to learn how to drop them. One of the first things that letting go is going to help with is it releases stress and tension. As you probably already know, stress can really significantly impact your fertility. It's going to make it more challenging for you to get pregnant and to stay pregnant and to have a healthy baby. So you're going to have to learn how to let go of stress. And by letting go of stress, you create a more harmonious internal environment for a pregnancy and a baby to thrive in. Relaxation then becomes the fertile ground for new beginnings. You have to remember that your body is your baby's home for 9 months. Okay? So for 9 months, your baby is going to live in there. And just think about your own home environment. If it was chaotic and stressful and just like it felt like you didn't know what to expect when you walked in the door, if you didn't know if your partner was going to pounce on you, like how inviting is that, and how much can you thrive in that environment? So you want to kind of take that same perspective and put it into your body, because your body is your baby's home. So just for a moment, I'd like for you to pause and think about what kind of internal environment, internal emotional environment, because we're talking about emotions within you, that would support a baby to feel safe, for the baby to feel secure, to feel comfortable, and therefore be able to thrive and to feel loved. And I'd love for you to think about that just for a second, and then throw your thoughts into the chat. So what kind of internal emotional environment is a thriving one for a baby? Joyful. Thank you. Yeah. Feeling at peace. Absolutely. What else? Happy and content. Calm. Grateful. I love that. Nurturing. Safe. Calm, happy, playful, peaceful. Anything else? Being present, relaxing. Yep. Silly. I love that. Silly, playful. Absolutely. The baby's inherent energy is playful. It's curious, meditative, supportive, soothing. Yeah, love it. Being present, presence is a state as well. I don't think I saw anyone say love. Loving would be one. Being more curious and open, allowing, absolutely. Appreciation, gratitude. Someone said that. Yeah. Okay. So now, so you get the idea. Open. Wonderful. So now you get the idea, right, of what an environment is like that is actually supportive and allows a baby to thrive, to grow. Now I'd like for you to think about what kind of environment is less likely to support a baby. Relatively. Doesn't mean it won't. It's just relatively less likely to support a baby. What kind of an emotional environment would that be? Stress and anxiety, chaos, negativity, distress and fear, conflict, doubt, pain, instability, bitter, sad, cranky, and irritable. Yep. Controlling. Absolutely. We're going to talk about the controlling. Not trusting my body. Yep. Traumatized. Financial stress. Yep. Anger. Self-doubt. Resentment. Anxious. Good. So you can see and feel the difference between those two ends of the spectrum. Completely different, right? So I'd like for you to be honest with yourself right now and consider where you are on that spectrum. On a scale of 1 to 10, how close are you to hosting a supportive and thriving environment for a baby, where 10 is you're firmly there, you're believing in it, you're trusting in yourself, you're open to it, and 1 is you have some work to do. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And if you feel comfortable, you can put that into the chat. Otherwise, 1. Okay, 6. 5. 5, 7, 4. 7, 6 or 7. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. So the goal is for this week is to give you tools to help you shift more towards the 10. The closer that you can get to the 10, the higher your chances of success, period. End of story. You cannot have a happy ending on an unhappy journey. It's an Abraham Hicks quote, which I love. And it's so true. So you have to make the journey happy or content or peaceful, one of those high frequency emotions. It's got to be more reflective of where you're going. And that's the goal for this week. Okay. So thank you so much for all of you for participating in this. Okay, so we've established that one of the benefits of letting go is reducing stress. That stress is often caused by limiting beliefs. And many people carry limiting thought patterns that affect their self-esteem and perception of their ability to get pregnant. And so with women in their 40s, late 30s, it starts in the late 30s, those limiting thought patterns start increasing in terms of quantity. You get more of those thought patterns, and quality in terms of they're just much more magnified and amplified. And that's one of the biggest differences between women in their late 30s and 40s as compared to younger women in their 20s or early 30s. The younger women just generally don't have those limiting thought patterns at that point. If you remember back to those days, in fact, you were on the opposite end where you were trying to prevent getting pregnant. So your thoughts were never about, I can't get pregnant. And so this is why that's why I focus on women in their 40s, because there's such a need to address the shift, this internal shift. And so the issue with treating it on a 3D physical level with the physical, like the external techniques like, the medical fertility treatments of IVFs, inseminations, even egg donor, acupuncture, nutrition, it's all external, which is great. But it doesn't address what's going on inside, which is the increasing amount for many women, not everyone, the increasing amount of doubt and fear and anxiety that occurs, that accumulates as every year gets tacked on to your age. And so that's what we need to address. So the process that you'll learn this week with me allows you to identify and release these beliefs. When you start to recognize and you release the self-doubt and the negativity, you just open the door to new possibilities. And this is really where the magic of manifestation happens. To be clear, you're manifesting all the time. We just don't call it manifesting. We just call it living life. But you're manifesting everything in your life, including material objects and people that you bring in and attract into your life, situations. It's a manifestation of your thoughts and your beliefs. They are. And so the more that you can accept that, the more on board you are with that idea that you are creating your own reality, the more empowered you become. Most people aren't aware that they can do this intentionally and deliberately. And that's really where I come in, is I want to show people and to teach you how to do this. So you don't feel like, which all of us have, and some of you are right now, we've all felt that like life is happening to us. Is there anything I can do to turn it around? And yes, you can. And so that's what I want to teach you, because positive thoughts and intentions, they gain more power when they aren't contradicted by doubts and anxieties. Okay, which basically those doubts and anxieties, they're basically acting as brakes on the momentum of your desires. Because every time you think about what you want, and then you think about how you can't get it, it's slamming the brakes on what you want. So you've got to get rid of the brakes so that you can continue to move forward to what you want. And that is really critical to your success. So part of the glow up process is to let go. Actually, the whole glow up process is to let go. A lot of people fear that letting go means giving up. It doesn't. And I'm going to say this again, just to make sure you're really clear about this. Letting go does not mean giving up. What you're letting go of is control. Your desire or your need to control situations and or people i.e. your partner or someone else, in order to force life to bend to your expectations. Letting go means to align with your desires. So their desires are still there. They're fully intact. You're aligning with them. You're harmonizing with them without the contradicting energy of the negative emotions. So the negative emotions are going to happen. They're natural. You're actually not trying to get rid of them. They will reduce over time, but you're learning how to let them rise and not be affected by them. To learn how to respond appropriately. So again, you're not letting go of the desire. You're letting go of whatever gets in the way of you harmonizing with what you want. You're letting go of those obstacles and those blocks of the negative emotions, the limiting beliefs, because you're recognizing, or you're going to learn to recognize, that there is a natural flow to life, which we see in every other aspect of nature, right? There is a natural flow. We don't need to get involved with their process. And the more involved we get with nature's processes, the more screwed up it gets. And we're seeing that because we're getting way too controlling with our natural environment. Nature has an abundance built into it. By its definition, by its nature, it is abundance. And if you can align with that, if you can truly believe in that and trust in that, that harmony is what's going to attract the energy and the circumstances that's necessary to manifest your baby. So I like to use the metaphor of a radio, where your baby is located at a radio station. So it's at a very specific frequency, let's say 93.3, right? The more doubts, so it's located here at 93.3. So the more doubts and fears that you have, the further away your frequency is from your baby's channel. So your station is starting to drift away, like that dial is starting to drift away. The more doubts and fears that you have. Your job is to tune that dial specifically, precisely to 93.3. And you do that by letting go of your limitations and doubts, because they are not part of your baby's signature. They're not part of their frequency. They're part of your frequency. They're not part of their frequency. The doubts and the fears and the anxieties, the bitterness, the sadness, they're part of your ego identity, which is there to protect you from disappointment and failure. However, the underlying fear that's causing that need for protection, it only creates interference. It prevents you from aligning with what you want. So just like adjusting that radio dial to get a clearer signal, when you release negative emotions and resistance, it's going to help you tune into your desire, into 93.3 with more clarity and precision. And that's how you do it. The process of letting go, it's not just about manifesting a baby. And I just kind of want to make that clear to give it like a bigger perspective of it. It's about transforming your entire life. And the reason why I want to really emphasize this is because there are a lot of women, or some women, I don't know. There are some women who really are hyper focused on the baby. You have to release that control. Because if your sole purpose in life right now is to get pregnant, and your life is consumed and you're obsessed about it, it's not going to go well for you, because you have an enormous amount of attachment to the way the world needs to be in order for you to feel good. And so that's why I really encourage you to apply these concepts and these principles to other areas of your life. As you release what no longer serves you, you start to make room for personal growth. And that's going to have to be really important. That's going to have to be a priority for you, is personal growth. It's being able to find that inner peace, even if the external reality isn't exactly what you want. You still are able to find the inner peace. And also, it's also about that deeper connection with yourself and your partner. If you have one, if you're single, then it would just be that deeper connection with yourself. And it's okay if you don't have a partner. My strategy works with single women as well. So the idea is for you to become more resilient, more adaptable, and open to the many surprises, beautiful, magical surprises that life has to offer. When you live this way of learning to live with flow, of being in flow, of looking at life through this lens, life becomes magical. And it will serve you up things that you could never, ever have imagined. And that's what I want for people. That's what I want for you, even beyond the baby. Because you're in your 40s, you have decades left of your life. If you know how to really tune in to what universe is trying to deliver to you, it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be a joy. And that's what I'd love for you to experience. Okay, so we're going to do a short guided meditation now. If you have any questions about what I spoke about, please enter them in right now. Otherwise, kind of get yourself into a place where you will be undisturbed. This will take no more than 5 minutes. And so if you're driving or you're not in a good place to do it at this time because you're at work, totally fine. Again, you'll have access to the recording when it's more convenient for you. I would just encourage you to listen in, just kind of so that, because we're going to wrap up at the end, and just to hang out if you can. Okay. So for those of you who are ready, I'd like you to get comfortable where you are seated, your feet firmly planted on the ground to keep you centered and rooted. And just take some deep breaths in. And just keep breathing, paying attention to your inhales and your exhales as I'm speaking, and just kind of giving you a little introduction of what this meditation is about. This guided meditation is really for the express purposes of learning to let go. You're going to practice watching your thoughts and not engaging with them during this meditation. This is an important skill that you're going to have to develop and nurture, because if you identify with your negative thoughts, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, your past traumatic memories, hurtful memories, and you allow them to define who you are limited to the box that they create. And you won't be able to achieve anything beyond that. So you're going to learn how to observe them as just passing by. Okay? So you're going to let your body relax. You're going to let your mind clear as much as you can. Some of you will be more practiced meditators. Others are brand new. This may be your first session. Doesn't matter where you are. Meditation gets easier with practice. It's often very, very frustrating for people in the beginning. So know that this is not about perfection. This is about just doing the practice and getting better at it. Okay? You don't learn how to play like, I don't know, a Bach symphony right out of the gate. You've got to learn the skills in order to get there. Okay? You're not able to talk with someone in their native language if it's foreign to you right from the get-go. You're going to have to learn how to get to that space. So it's the same thing. These are all skills that you build and you develop over time and with a lot of practice. So your body's relaxed. Hopefully your mind is clearing a little bit. Thoughts are going to be coming up. Memories are going to be coming up. Emotions are going to be coming up. That's okay. What I want you to do is try to blank out your mind's eye, kind of like you're wiping clean a blackboard or a whiteboard. So with your eyes closed, whatever it is that you're seeing kind of like behind your eyelids, that's your inner screen. Wipe that clean as best to your ability as you can. Everyone's going to be different in terms of what they're experiencing. It's whatever is you're experiencing. You're not comparing it to anyone else. It's just what you're experiencing. So wipe that inner screen clean to the best of your ability. And then I'd like for you to just watch what comes up. Watch the thoughts that come up, the emotions, the memories. But I want you to think about this metaphor. That greater part of you, that awareness, that consciousness that is you, you're sitting at a bench, on a bench at a train station. And each thought is a train. Each emotion is a train. Each memory is a train that's just rolling in front of you. And all you're doing is observing it. That's it. Don't get on the train. Don't interact with the passengers on the train. Don't tell the conductor to stop or speed up. Don't try to change it. All you're doing is you're practicing being a neutral observer of it. Don't get engaged with it. And then every time that you start getting distracted, you feel like you're going off on the train, like you felt like you got on the train accidentally, bring your awareness back to your breath and plant yourself on the bench again, and then watch the trains. Just keep watching them. You're not trying to change them. You're not trying to stop them. You're not doing anything. All you're doing is observing. This is the first step to letting go. You have to be aware of your thoughts and your emotions and your memories. And you have to dissociate yourself from them, not to link up to them, not to associate and identify with them. They are separate from that greater part of you. They are not who you are. I'll just give you a few more seconds to do that. Okay. I'd like for you to bring your attention back to your breath as you slowly make your way out and back to me. And then I'd love to hear what your thoughts, what your experience was. If you can enter them into a chat if you'd like to share. If you have any questions about that process. It's a very simple process, but that is the first step. So that's today. That's for today. Practice that. Just practice that task, that skill of just observing. I love the train visualization. It's very handy. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, because we get on the trains all the time. We get involved with it. So the practice is, again, to reiterate, the issue is that, okay, so what it's like is like, the thoughts and the emotions and the memories, they're like clothes that we wear. And a lot of times we don't realize we can just take them off. Like we get so identified with these clothes, like this is who I am. We don't realize that we can just take them off and just burn them and just choose another outfit. That's exactly what you need to do is, all right, this feeling, this thought, this memory, it's not serving me. There's nothing for me to be gained by holding on to it. So I'm going to discard it, and then I'm going to choose something that feels better. For those of you who follow Abraham Hicks, it's a very Abraham Hicks style of teaching. I just apply it to the fertility journey, the baby journey, because that's kind of the style that I approach life, and really everything is just kind of going with the flow and surrender. Let's see what else do people say. Very surprisingly powerful. Yeah, that's the thing is, this is the thing is we tend to overcomplicate things. And it's really, and again, my approach is very much about simplicity. I try to make it as simple as possible. I really hate teaching like this tool and this technique for this specific situation and that specific situation, because we're not going to remember it. I know I won't. So I always bring it back to the most simplest elements possible, so that regardless of the situation, you know what to do. My clients will ask me, well, what happens when you're in this situation, that situation? I always bring it back to the basics. It's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it gets adapted a little bit, but underlying the foundation is the same. The problem is that in its simplicity, it often gets overlooked. Breath is about as simple as you can get. bringing it back to the breath. It's calm and peaceful. I love it. Hard not to get on when you like to travel, though. Yeah, that's the thing, is we get used to getting on those trains. We've trained ourselves. It's become habitual. And that's what this whole process is about, is to deprogram you, to unplug from the matrix of that sphere, of that ecosystem, and create your own, create the one that you like and that you want to be in. You get to create your life. You're still writing your story. You have absolute control over it. Yeah, are there going to be things that are going to come at you that you're not going to like, and that's going to be difficult? Of course, that's life. But how you respond to it is completely within your control, because you can't control anything else other than your response. And that's your job, is to be able to do that. And not try to change situations and people and stuff, because you can't do that. All right, so going back to my breath helped distract me from bad thoughts. Yeah, so again, it's always going back to the breath, right? There are breath practices, because that's how powerful it is. Breath is abundance. Breath is part of the universe. It is abundance. So connecting with the abundance of the breath is a really great reminder of how abundant nature is. We are nature. And so that's who we are. So I would like just kind of something that I am a stickler for. So this would be, so bad, I would take that out of, as much as possible, take that out of your vocabulary, because there's judgment, right? If you're saying something's bad, then obviously there's a good relative to that. More, I would encourage you to think more about, those are just thoughts. Whether or not you align with them or not, that's a different story. So the bad thoughts are what you would have thought were bad thoughts before. You now just think of them as not aligned thoughts. I'm really kind of a stickler with how you use words, because I think words really reinforce what you believe. So it's just something that I wanted to bring that. I see the past incidents and emotions connected. I felt, and then let it pass. Yeah, I know. Abraham Hicks. It's like that's how I started my spiritual journey, and then like I've learned from other people, but I always go back to Abraham Hicks, because I love how they simplify things. The thought came that I had points in my journey where people insisted I had to be calm and relax, even though awful things were happening in my IVF treatment. So then there was pressure to feel calm, relaxed, happy, etc. as well. With the stakes being not having a child, if you fail to achieve that peace, the danger of self-blame for not connecting from negativity versus being realistic that there are some low points on this roller coaster and it's okay to feel. Okay. So that feeling of, that pressure of feeling calm, relaxed, and happy versus not, that calm, relaxed, happy, that's actually your inner state. That's who you are. You're just being trained and influenced out of it. When you look at really young children, before their parents get a grip on them, before teachers, before religion gets on them, you look at them. That's how we all came in. They're happy, they're joyous, they're curious, they're playful, they're abundant, they're just amazing, right? And it isn't until they start like acquiring language and going to school and stuff like that, that's when the ego starts to build. That's when the ego identity starts to build. Part of this process is to collapse that ego identity, because for most of the population, it's the ego that's driving the car. It is not our inner being. The inner being that everything's fine. At this moment, everything is fine. If you were in the present moment, everything is fine. Yes, there may be things going on outside of you, but that's because you are attaching yourself to them. But if you connected with your inner self, everything's fine. And that's the purpose of this meditation, is to connect with that inner peace, which is in all of us. It's just being obscured by layers of conditioning, of patterns, of negative thoughts. The more that you dissolve it, the more you get connected with it. And then that's what smooths out the emotional roller coaster, because you always get back to that inner being, that greater part of you, because that greater part of you has the big picture. This human part of us only has the picture of what we have been trained, what we have, what our lens has been the lens, the perspective, the lens that we view life through. It's been influenced by other people. But that greater part of us, that inner being, sees everything. And so that's what we want to get access to. And we do. So it would be like we're all, okay, so it'd be like an octopus, right? The main body of the octopus would be source, universe, God, whatever it is that you think of as higher power. That would be the octopus's body, right? And so each of the tentacles coming off, in this example, is going to be way more than 8 tentacles. It's going to be like 8 billion tentacles. So the octopus has 8 billion tentacles. They're 8 billion extensions of source. We're all connected to that source. But what happens as we live life is we think as a tentacle, because we're one tentacle, we think that as a tentacle, we're disconnected from everything else. That an entire existence is just the one tentacle. We forget that there's all of this other stuff that we're connected to. And the more connected you get to that greater aspect, that's when you get into the flow and you get into trust and into faith. And that's when things become more easy and struggle no longer becomes part of it just gets deleted from your vocabulary. There will be times of challenge, as Abraham calls it, contrast. I love contrast. We need the contrast in order to define what it is that we want. The contrast is important because, to be honest, we would be bored if everything is groovy and happy. We think that's what we want. That's not what we want. It is not within our human nature to just want everything, because we would be completely butt-ass bored. And so part of this experience is to learn to embrace and to, well, not necessarily embrace, at least to just accept the contrasting moments. And then identifying, okay, is there a lesson to be learned? Is there something that I need to overcome so that the next step that I take will gain better results and get me closer? And so that's the process. All right, so for today, if you feel like you'd want to do this meditation again on your own, feel free to do that. Just practice sitting on a bench, right? Being on the train, sitting on the bench at a train station. You're just watching the trains pass by you. The longer that you can do this, the more often that you can do this, it becomes easier. I promise. I know in the beginning, excuse me. Oh, that was burp. I know in the beginning it can seem really challenging, and trust me, it does take a long time. It can take a long time to really get comfortable with, just don't with meditation. Just don't expect it to be completely clear, in terms of. Hold on. Just looking at this. Oh, someone was asking if it's important to incorporate breath exercises daily to, here, I'm going to just copy. Oh, that was to everyone. Okay, so is it important to incorporate breath exercises daily to minimize, help work with negative thoughts? Yeah. So you're using this as a practice to learn to detach from yourself from the work thoughts. I have a client right now, and we haven't even, because of her work schedule, because she's been so busy at work, that when we first started working together, that's all we could focus on was really learning how to manage work, because it was so stressful. And so all we did was just work stuff. We didn't even do fertility stuff. And so now that she's kind of worked on just letting go of being triggered by her colleagues and work situations, now she's just applying it to the baby journey. So that's what I mean about using it in other areas of her life. It's just going to make it easier to apply it to the baby journey, where you're gonna naturally have much more emotional attachment to. Okay, so all right. So practice that if you'd like. Yeah, meditation is amazing. You know, that really is going to be the key, honestly. If you guys aren't meditating, you're going to have to jump on that. You're going to have to jump on that train. All right, so practice that. Tomorrow we're going to talk about something else. I've created a private group in Discord. Discord is a platform. It's, you know, I much prefer it over Facebook. I'm not a huge Facebook fan at all. And so I think there's a lot of issues with it. So in Discord, you can create, if you're not familiar with it, you can just very, very easily create an account. You don't have to like put in any stupid like personal information and stuff like that. It's just you just create an anonymous account, however anonymous you want it to be. I would just, you know, if you want, just use your first name or a made up first name. It's so easy to create your ID, and then you can join us. I think that link works. So the private group on Discord, it will be active for this week only. So this way you can share your experiences and your insights as you move through the challenge, and then I'll be there to kind of check in and see how things are going. So I invite you to join me there, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Are there any last questions, any feedback or anything like that before we hang up for today? Thank you all so much for being here live. And for those of you who are watching, who will be watching the recording, I really appreciate it. You know, I have a lot of fun doing these. So you're very welcome to all of you. Any questions? You're all good? Okay, great. Well, if you have questions or anything comes up and you get confused about the meditation, ask in Discord, or if you're going to join us live, then yeah, you can ask it tomorrow. If you're not able to join live, then enter the question in Discord, and then I'll make sure to either address it within Discord or on tomorrow's call. Yeah, train metaphor. Yeah, I love it. It's like, oh, that was like one of my aha moments. Like, all right, take care, everyone. See you tomorrow, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye. Oh, how do we watch recordings from the meetings we can't join? I'm going to send you the link after everything's uploaded later in the day. So no worries. Okay. See y'all. Bye.